Alright, springtime's coming. Still late winter. Haven't done any videos on these in a long time. And I gotta be honest, I really put all this stuff aside for months. Just not really doing any work. And the good news is that I haven't needed to do any work. So last year I kind of finished up my overall project, which was taking 5 Bolens Huskies and making 3 of them that are good and serviceable for a long period of time. So right now I got my 1050 on here, got the 12 horsepower. I want to say this is Wisconsin, yeah, TRA 12D, correct. So I got that going. Everything about that has been great. Last year I changed out the engine, changed out the rear end. That's been great. Got some wheel weights on there, some turf tires, got my AGs here, all got several sets back in the back. So really nothing going on with this. It's working great. I only used it once this winter, and I'll tell more about why later, but it's been a situation where I don't need to do anything to these tractors anymore. And now that I say it, maybe something will happen where I have to do something, but in general, the reason I haven't been really doing anything with them is because I don't need to, which was my whole goal in the first place. So we're going to come down here and see the other 2. And again, there's really nothing been going on with them. I have been using them. And so right now I got the 750 here. It's got the 10 horsepower on it. And last year I plowed our street because the city didn't do it. And I got a little time to experiment with my tractors a little bit. Last year I was trying to get these things basically, what's the right word for it? Just trying to get these things optimized for my use last year. And during that time when I was trying things out and changing motors and doing this and that, I had time to plow some stuff with the blade. And what I found is, of course, the 1050 is going to be the ideal machine because it's got 12 horsepower, but it's basically a 1250, basically is what I'd call it, 1254 maybe. What I would say is obviously that's going to be the ideal machine because it has the high-low shifter on the gears, but I didn't really need those for plowing. Long story short, what I found out last year was that I can do what I need to do with this blade with my 750. It's got 10 horsepower, so it's got a little bit of extra over a 750, what a 750 would have, of course. So I figured out last year I could do with this pretty much everything that I needed to do with the blade. So I decided I'm going to use a 750 this year, and so this one's been more used. That explains why the 1050 up there hasn't been used much at all, because I haven't really needed anything on a heavier duty basis. I didn't need the posi lockouts on the wheels, which was surprising. But yeah, so right now I've got the snow blade on there. I'm not sure if I've ever really done a video on this, but this got the the pins, the cotter pins here for the linkage. Got 2 extra wide pins through there, and then the cotter pins to go through that. Just hook up to those bottom, then your linkage here. You basically have your manual adjustment for your blade, which is really nice. I've never had any problem with having to step off the tractor and change this over to the angle that I wanted. Doesn't give you a whole lot of clearance in front, but Tell you what, this blade does a great job for all we ask it to do, just move a bunch of snow. You can push probably 4 to 6 feet of wet snow in front of that. It just really pushes well. So that one is the second most used, and that's been kind of a winter thing. We haven't had much snow this winter. We've had snow, but it hasn't been frequent, and it hasn't been icy like last year. So it's had a lot less use, but again, I've literally done nothing to this tractor as far as maintenance or upgrades, or I literally have just been using it. So that one's good. Today, I'm just getting out. The weather's starting to warm up. It's winter still, but spring's coming around. And every year I have to basically get my machines ready and get them running for the season. And today I'm just kind of assessing what I got going on. Thought I'd make a quick video about the beginning of the year. There is one project I know I have right away. I might be using the 1050 in April on a project. Got a bunch of these trailers that work really well with my thing, but basically what I've done in the past, I can't really show necessarily really well. Basically, if you look at the bottom axle there, I have to put a hitch up there so I can do a tandem trailer. And the reason why is because I need to do a bunch of hauling, and I'm going to basically reduce my trips in half by doing a tandem trailer. So I got it. That's one of my projects I've got on my list. So this is a 600. It's been running great. One of the things about these lawn tractors, you get those lawn tractor batteries. They're, I wouldn't say small, but let's say 600 cranking amps. I'm not even sure what they are, but they tend to go bad over the winter if you don't keep them trickle charged and stuff like that. So I've been through a lot of batteries, so I don't use a bunch. If I need a battery, I'll usually change it over to something else. But one thing I knew about the 600, and this was kind of in the planning and hopes, was that this had a 15 amp charger and a car battery. And I've just kind of kept this running a little bit here and there over the winter, and I haven't used it in probably a week, but I could probably start it up right now and you could just hear the battery and everything is strong as ever. I think that's on. I probably have to choke it a little bit. Got a little throttle. Just press that little button there. Sorry, that little lever there. Choke it. On position. Yep, runs great, always. A throttle thing. So yeah, starts right up and runs great. I've literally done nothing to this since the last time I had a video and I was talking about fixing it. The last real event was I had this at my job last year. I've used it since then, but I had a tree fall, break the steering wheel a little bit. It bent the seat. I had to replace that. But before that, I had the main output shaft seal down there I had to replace. I just put this engine on there a year or so ago, year and a half maybe, and man, it's been so nice. I've got it contained. This is just an extra hood that I built out of wood. I'm going to do some more stuff with it, but I did this just to kind of show the engine stuff in there, and I need to rebuild the original hood. It's got some issues in it, but it's still good. I've got it, but I don't really keep it on the tractor because I feel like the more I put it on there, the more it's going to deteriorate because it rattles or moves, shakes and wiggles about. But anyway, I've got this on there, and I've got this new setup contained inside of the hood, what I would call the hood area. Got the breather, muffler, and everything inside of there. That was something I kind of had to work out a little bit last year. That's working great. I've got lights, front, back, everything. Like I said, it's like no news is good news as far as I'm concerned. So I really haven't done anything to this. Haven't even had to change the belt, which is a nice thing. I wouldn't say that's really a frequent problem, but typically what happens is I'll let somebody else drive the tractor, and they just don't know how to use the gears properly. I mean, no matter how much torque these are putting out the back end, you still have you have one 4L belt driving everything, so you have to consider what kind of stress that thing is taking and just use your gears properly. And what I'll get is, somebody on here, this thing will pull you in third gear, but it's really not necessarily the best gear you should use because it's putting so much strain on the belt. And you really just kind of have to know the machine and feel it out. But I know how to use it to the point where I'm not basically burning the belts up. And newer drivers seem to burn the belts up, if that's the right way of putting it. I always keep an extra one. I don't know if I have it on there right now, but I always keep an extra belt around. It looks like I've lost it. It's somewhere around. But yeah, I always keep an extra belt for when that one goes out. Oh, it's actually over here. I always keep an extra drive belt with my tractors just in case that ever happens. This one happens to be right here. 4L360, that's a normal drive belt on these things. So a 1/2-inch belt, you figure it's a lot of strain on a 1/2-inch belt. So yeah, so that's it. So what I did with the 750, I've been using that for like snow plowing and grass cutting in general. The 600 has been all about hauling. So right underneath here I have my 750 blade. I'm sorry, my blades. So I do have the cover that goes on this, but putting it on and off of there is complicated, and I'll do that soon. But what I need to do first, and what I do every year, is I always grease these joints on these spindles and just make sure everything is nice and flexible and movable. Make sure this is topped off with gear lube. Yeah, as far as sharpening the blades, I could do that, but to be honest, I use this more for like a mulcher than I do grass cutting, and I'll sharpen the blades a little bit and then they'll be dull really quickly because I use this more for, I'd call it rough cutting, if that's the right way to put it. More like a brush hog is what I would call it, unfortunately. So that's working. As soon as I feel like it, I guess, as soon as the grass starts growing, in that probably next couple weeks, I'll basically take that deck and drop it underneath the 750, hook that PTO up right there to it. Sorry, you can see the green PTO that I have underneath there, the universal shaft. I hook up the blade to that. I'm sorry, that to that, tear off, take the blade off for the winter and store that. And then that's my lawn cutter for the year. And that's about it. So I thought I'd do a quick video while I'm out here just kind of assessing what I got to do. I got all kinds of good stuff coming up. As soon as the weather gets good, I'm going to be out here doing my thing again. But probably not many tractor projects. Like I said, I am going to do a hitch on the back of this trailer so I can do a piggyback, and I think that's going to go really well. I think I already have the part that I need. Theoretically, I have exactly what I want already, so I'm going to try that. And theoretically, if it works out, I'll do 3 in a row if I want to, honestly, and just start pulling a train, because I know that I could fill 3 of these up and pull them with the tractor. And so we got to move a bunch of mulch. But anyway, this would be nice to have at least a double. These are some of the linkage parts for my mowing deck. I'll have to put these back on. These pins. So these pins are all of your linkage for your attachments. And I'm going to say this one's 1.5 inches. And it's basically, it probably uses about 1 inch of this pin, maybe 3/4 of an inch of this pin. And my reason for bringing that up is because the pins really, they have specific attachments they're good for, and some of them they're not great for. So, for example, this pin would not work on this blade because this pin is not long enough. So this particular pin is more like a 2.5-inch pin on the plow blade, where this 1.5 inches for the mowing deck. So there's a difference, and really the biggest thing is I have to keep track of those mostly, because these are what I would call more the standard or more normal size. That these are used more often than those are over there. So yeah, that's about that. Again, I wish I had more news, but really no news is good news. I brought these out. Bought these this morning at the metal shop. I was thinking I was going to put these around an axle, stack them with a spacer, and then this one hole right here would be my trailer hitch hole. So I'm thinking about, I might actually use these, but like I said, I have a part. Actually, let me go look. One of my trailers I know for sure has, I've already done this once, so I'll take a quick walk up there. One of these trailers has a piggyback hitch on it already, and I believe it came off of my Cub Cadet, if I'm not wrong. I think it's yellow. Yep, I see it from here. All right, so right here, this trailer, obviously this is where it hooks up to my tractor, and then when you get down to the end of the support, there's the axle. I have this piece here. Let me try to get a better angle of that. See if I can get this to stay down. I might have to tuck it underneath the wheel. Yeah, that didn't do it either. I got too much weight in the back. Gotta put some air in the tire too. Okay, there we go. So let's look underneath here. If you look underneath here, this trailer, you can put another trailer hook up to there. Just put a pin through it right there. So this one's made for another trailer to go behind it. So I'm going to probably add another one of those pieces. That will get me pulling 3 trailers if I want to. There's a deck for the 600, which is different than the other ones. These bracket supports here are different on the 650 than they are on the 600 than they are on the 750. This deck is different. Yeah, I wish I could explain the differences. They're just small differences, but one works and one doesn't on the 600 and the 750. I've got my extra U-joints here, my PTO shafts. I've got my guard. This is my pulley guard for the 750 here. Got a bunch of pins and hardwares and pulleys. I'm not sure if I talked about this last year, but this pulley basically goes on the bottom of one of these PTO gear, bevel gear units, and I'm not sure what I did. I did something dumb like 5 years ago. End up cracking this off of here. I think I was trying to get the pulley off the shaft, but I broke that, and you can't really find a gear like this. So it has to be really offset from the shaft, motor shaft, or the PTO shaft over here, all the way over to here. This offset is not really something you find in a normal gear. So, because I did that, that kind of made one of my PTO units useless because I don't have the pulley for it. So, it is what it is. I'll figure it out eventually. I'll probably get another one of those units eventually and just replace the whole thing, and then I'll have parts for it. So that's about it. Alright, not too much exciting, but if I do anything exciting, I'll get back on YouTube and make a video about it. hopefully, I'm going to plan, hopefully in April, beginning of April, hopefully, we've got a project at the park, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be a part of that or not, but I probably will be hauling a bunch of mulch. And if that does happen, we'll have a cleanup day at the park, and I'll definitely make some videos about it then if that happens. So, all right, I'm going to sign out. I don't really have any big news other than the fact that everything's working. Whatever work I did last year held over for a year, and it probably will for several more years. No really big work to do on anything. So I'm going to sign out. Till next time.